He didn't unmute his mic again.
Welcome to the
Every time,
welcome
every
to.
time we start the post game show, you just don't unmute the mic.
I did it
What's
to
going on?
I did it to raise our spirits because muted I was saying, "Hi, everyone, welcome to the Pucks and a post game show. The Vancouver Canucks defeated 2-1 to the Columbus Blue Jackets in
Are
overtime."
you guys ready for the post game show that we were gonna have 2 games ago? Because literally,
I
Ryan. I went into the garbage because my girlfriend didn't throw it out. Went in the garbage, got my notes out. I didn't have to write any new notes because it was literally the notes I had for the other game.
I'm not too mad about this game. I'm bummed out that they couldn't end it when they could have. Um, we'll talk about what Dakota Joshua Truther was talking about, goalie interference or not. But before we get into it, just a brief overview. I was happy with the game. It sucks the Canucks took their foot off the gas when they did in those brief moments, those brief fleeting moments. But a lot. I'm going to try and focus on a lot of positives tonight. How about you?
Um, yeah, sure. I mean, listen, the UC Saros played great tonight. Thought that's for certain. This isn't a game that I think within the series, Ryan, we haven't seen before. This is kind of modus operandi of how these two teams play. Um, I'm really a little disappointed they couldn't pull it out tonight because what that means is a week of rest. They definitely need it. Players on the squad need it, and
We need it.
yeah, we need it. No, I think we're good. We're having fun. I think if there's two people who could do like all these shows, it's you and I in this market without you
No,
know
I
having to go to Greta Bar and at YVR for our hopes and sins. Yeah, no, I think for the most part the Canucks a lot of high danger chances. I know their shot totals were low. Tested UC Saros quite a bit. They had their looks. Um, I mean, of course, there's a couple things I can look at, and I think that I will say, Nikita Zadorov, this was a Zadorovian game. He really showed that this man is the truth to some extent. He's kind of like he's I don't know, he's like a really high brand Tyler Myers type player. It's really funny, when they made that trade, we both thought, or at least I thought, oh, Zadorov and Myers on the same decor. Okay, this is going to be fun. And lo and behold, he's become this kind of fan favorite, and where he's got a killer shot. He can skate. He's physical. At one point, he called. Apologies, I'm going to swear here. At
yeah,
one point, he called Philip Forsberg a pussy because he
yeah.
cross-checked him, and then he went down pretty easy. Um, yeah, a lot of good positives. Archer Shilovs, I don't think was the issue. That Carrier goal screened a little bit of a floater down. Probably should have had it. I feel it was Hughes and someone else battling in net front. But
Yeah,
from the most case, I think in the first period made a lot of like really calm, strong saves in that aspect. I don't know, right? I know you want to focus on positives, so we can go that way. But yeah, for overall vibe for you.
I really liked it. I I think my biggest gripe from game 4 was not that they were down 3-1 or like, what the score was. My biggest gripe was there was no cohesiveness, there was no battle, they weren't hard on anything. Everything, to steal a term from Sean Avery, everything was crispy. They were in the lanes, they were they were taking away so many pucks. There was no bullshit about getting the puck out of their own zone. It was hard and fast out. It was Tampa Bay Lightning in their prime esque,
Right.
and that just made me feel very confident. All the penalty kills that they had, outside of that one, it I didn't have much stress about them. They they
Both teams. Sorry to interrupt. Both teams' power plays. There was a certain point where I'm like, can the coaches go and be like, can we decline the power play for a timeout? Like it was just so ineffective at both sides. And like the first, I think it was the only shot on the power play. Was it actually the Yossi goal
Yeah, I think
that
so.
either team had? It was a weird stat in that. Very again a melatonin type game. Rogers was rocking. But yeah.
I it was it was very efficient. There wasn't a lot of if I could compare this game to a Canucks defenseman, it was a Matthias Olin game, and it was not a Tyler Myers game.
If I
Like it
could
was just
compare
a
this game to a summer's day, as Ryan goes into the experience on it.
I it didn't offend me. I really liked what I saw out of just about every single player on the Canucks. You know, Shilovs and Dakota Joshua, or sorry, and Zadorov probably at the top of that list. But man, just uh, a seeing eye shot on a on a defensive zone draw for the Canucks that really they took their foot off the gas for, because all the efficiencies I outlined, I saw in the first and in the second and most of the third. I didn't see them on that Carrier goal,
Mhm.
and it's just unfortunate that that's won by, you know, the Predators win game 5 because of a quick foot off the gas from the Canucks, but a lot of
Yeah,
positives to take away.
can I get your opinion on the Yossi goal with goal in regards to goaltender interference? I know we're going to talk about
Which
Dakota
goal? This
Joshua.
one?
Shorthand in the third period of game 5. Forsberg down, Yossi in, pucks behind Shields, who reached around it's in. Nashville's tied the game on a scramble in the Vancouver goal crease. A power play goal.
Yeah, that was a
I
controversial goal.
yeah, I feel like there has to be a readjustment to this idea of you challenging a goal and then you get a 2-minute minor after if you get it wrong. Strictly based off of the fact that now I really think certain teams, even if they are totally certain that it's goaltender interference, due to the complete inconsistency of the rule,
Mm-hmm.
are just not calling it just strictly because they don't. It's too much of a risk. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I in that play, like, okay, so you see, Teddy Bluger comes right in net front with Artur Shilovs. Then Yossi comes in right after. You know, his stick is pushing. It doesn't connect to the puck first. It's goaltender first, and then it pushes. The momentum of everything goes in. So I don't know. It's such an odd thing. But yeah, they're going into game 6, and dang, it's such a missed opportunity, Ryan.
I'm looking at it right now. I'm just kind of scrubbing along with it. You could have an argument. Is that Yossi? No, who's 59?
Yossi.
Yeah, Yossi kind of he clips him. I don't like. He's trying to avoid him. He's going around him, so that doesn't upset me. He's doing his
Mhm.
best to stay just on the edge of the blue paint, and I think it's not enough there for me in my very unbiased opinion.
Mhm.
But the reason they couldn't call it is because Teddy Bluger and or Zadorov push their momentum. They use that Predators player to kind of knock Shilovs loose and knock that puck loose.
Mhm.
So it would have been so tight. And like you said, you have to kind of relook at why are we punishing people, and you know it's not, you know, that rule is in place to speed things up, to prevent, you know, cheeky coaches probably employed by Kyle Dubas to like quit, you know, just challenging anything.
Mhm.
Um, I
Yeah. It's a bit of a bar. It's a bit this game.
It's a
I just
barter.
really feel well. This game was exactly what last game was going to be like, right? Like this is the same feeling that we were going to have in that last game, except I think it would be a bit more doom and gloom, and the fact that we were um instead of 2-2, it's 3-1, and so we're like, okay, that's great. Um, I think the consequences of them losing this game. So now they have to make that long trek over to Nashville to play game 6 again. Tough.
Yeah.
You know, you're looking at a team that's already injured and tired, and this is a team that needs certain players to have rest. Um, we can touch on Pedersen. I think the one benefit is if the Canucks do pull out this series and it's not won by any part of the imagination, because anything can happen. But it does mean I believe that the next series would start later, so it's technically more rest and time for Demko to come back. But even I think Demko right now needs to be on the just on the back burner, because there's a little bit of an issue in that, Nikita Zadorov in this game can't be your only goal scorer.
No.
Like the forwards need to show up in an extent, and I think you know where I'm going in this one. Where, let's talk about PD for a second. Again, let's have a PD update. I
How
think,
about a nice little banner?
yeah, nice little banner. I saw signs from Patterson tonight. I
Yeah.
saw little incremental increases in his pace of play and his energy tonight. He's obviously injured and he's obviously dealing with something. My concern is, this is round 1 and you're up 3-1. If he's really injured and if he's really, it's causing him really not to be able to produce offense in the way that he is. He's fumbled quite a few pucks, especially on the last sequence of the game when they have the offensive zone, offensive zone cover, puck in the offensive zone. Sorry.
Yep.
With Artur Shilov's pulled. It's Millard or Hughes back to Pedersen, and Pedersen's just kind of getting pressured by two guys. And,
he had his double coverage. Yeah.
He had the double coverage, is back to the play. He's trying to make a play, and Nashville knows that. And kudos to them for knowing to go and cover him. I really think that in this game, if you were up 3-1, I know it's in front of the home fans and everything, but was this not a really good opportunity to kind of hedge your bets the same way they've kind of hedged their bets with Casey DeSmith? And now listen, if PD was putting up points and he was actively out there just ripping it, but big part you can see he's producing. I get it. I understand, and he's gutting through it. He's not right now. Yeah. And tonight was slightly, I would have questioned, is it a night where you can be like, hey, listen, you need the night off. You need to figure this out, not to healthy scratch and be like, yeah, he just needs a night off with a upper body injury or whatever, illness. Just say illness at this point. Literally everyone in the NHL will just say illness as opposed to upper or lower body. They'll just say, it's crazy. Yeah, thoughts, Ryan?
Dakota Joshua Truther on X, the social media platform formerly known as Twitter. Do you guys put stock in the PD is injured talk? I do. When you're seeing him hesitant to take the shots, hesitant to rip it, and you're kind of seeing him in practices really focusing on taking those shots, there's something wrong. I liked his game. I'm not, but you're not looking for Selke performances from Elias Pettersson. I really liked some of his moves and some of his decisions he made and plays to keep things going. But I just didn't.
Big goal
on that final drive in the offensive zone. Yes, he had coverage, but there was still that kind of reluctancy to really take a stab at something creative, offensively.
Yeah,
I feel mostly for Pua Suter. I said in the first period to you that I thought he would score tonight, and goddamn, he had all the chances in the world. He only got one shot on goal in 12 minutes of ice time, but he was a real playoff performer. He was very noticeable out there, despite not doing too much.
Yeah, he had a few good looks and a few chances there with 12 minutes ice time. Only one shot on net, but pretty active. I will say, one person that has been just increasingly impressing me game over game is Elias Lindholm. As a person who, when he first came in, outside of the Carolina game, it was basically invisible. It seemed like he took that time off just to recalibrate and everything. He's found two line mates in Joshua and Garland that, to me, that's the second line now. And I really think that if you're not going to try, you can't sit Pettersson anymore and you can't give him because you're 3-2 now. I think you have to go Lotto. You literally just go Lotto. You have a second line there with Lindholm that at least in this series can push. And, they seem to be effective. And your bottom six, listen, just let your bottom six guys be your grinder guys and, put Suter on the third line and Bluger on the fourth, or however. Lafferty also can go up and down the lineup in line 3 and 4, and just kind of go and just see if generate. Like, the Canucks need 2-3 goals. Like that's what the series dictates. You really don't need any more than that, and the other teams that's the kind of bar to entry.
There was a lot.
Yeah, sorry. One thing, and yeah, the last thing is, Zadorov just quoted, that they felt like they had stolen the game over their last game, and they feel that Nashville stole the game tonight. Kind of is true, yeah.
I call it a theft. The Canucks dominated. The Canucks dominated so much in the offensive zone, so crispy, so smart. I really appreciated the changes they made in their game, and it made them that much more threatening. But yeah, Nashville stole it. I'll say they stole it. They outshot them 22-20, but there was a lot of offensive pressure and a lot more chances going Vancouver's way. And to be honest, I really liked Elias Pettersson's line tonight. He was with the Big Hog, and he was with Mikheyev.
Yeah, I saw Mikheyev had a bit of a jump tonight.
I loved it. His ACL is healed. He's ready to score a goal any day now. And this game was kind of had the makings for some unusual person to score, but it didn't happen. But I really liked Mikheyev. Hoglander was very noticeable in the first 40 minutes, and Pius Suter with Miller and Besser. I noticed Pius Suter most. I kind of, I felt like JT Miller was skating uphill through snow just to try to make things happen. So he wasn't kind of having the flashiest of games. And the new third line, Lindholm, Connor Garland, Dakota Joshua, very noticeable, very effective. They had scoring chances. They had a scoring chance in the second period that looked a lot like the way Lindholm scored that overtime goal. Like if they drew that up or they've been practicing it, it almost worked.
Just to quickly mention for someone in the chat, my friend Batu is in the chat all the way from the UK. He told me like 5 hours ago that he was taking a sleeping pill just to go to sleep. And the man is now, it is 6 a.m. over there. He's watched the game, and he is now in the chat. And
Love it.
You should go to bed. I'm telling you to go to bed.
No, stay up. Blow up the chat. For those that are in the chat right now, make sure you're throwing a like on this bastard. Hit subscribe if you haven't yet. Here on the Pucksnet YouTube channel or wherever you're watching this. And
can I quickly go through the box score, because there's just a couple.
I love Arash going. Hang on, Arash. I love when you go through the box score. 1 second here. I'm saucing Arash going through the box score.
Oh, thank you. It's always great to see me try and read. That's the one benefit. It's always great. It's always great to see if my undiagnosed slight dyslexia that I think I have is going to kick in.
I got that feeling too sometimes.
No, it's just with text. It's just words. I often, I just kind of do it. All right. Well, Preds win 2-1. Final score, 22 shots against Vancouver's 20. A couple things that kind of popped in my head, Ryan. I'm just going to read off to you. Again, Nashville kills it in the faceoff dot, 61.4% against 38% for the Canucks. Power plays, Nashville was given 4 opportunities, Canucks 2. I don't know if you thought, again, refereeing, we can kind of throw them under the bus, but I don't even think they know what they're doing most nights. So
I didn't have I didn't have problems with the board. The hook, JT Miller, I was watching him get a little too horny trying to forecheck, and I made a joke that you could see the gears in his brain stop working, and just like, I can get away with this. I didn't have too many gripes with the officiating and the calls for the Canucks.
Yeah. 33 hits were 34, 33 Nashville, block shots 19-15 for Vancouver. Giveaways pretty much even 5-4. Takeaways 7-4 for Vancouver. I'm just going to go through the stat sheet for the Canucks. Couple players again. Brock Besser, two shots on net. I thought he was active in front of the net. He was stopped by UC Saros in that third period. Again, JT Miller showing up with 2 penalty minutes, 3 hits, 5 hits on the night with almost 23 minutes of ice time tonight. Let's look at Hughes right here. Yeah. Assist, 23 minutes. 3 shots on goal, 1 hit, showing up physically even. And then Big Z with the goal +1. 2 PIMs, 1 shot, 4 hits on the night, 21 minutes ice time.
Big Z, man.
And then Philip Hronik with his beautiful, beautiful 200-mile-per-hour slap pass that he tried. That was one thing that I was really miffed about, and I think maybe that's a quick sidebar conversation. But do you think there's a little bit of a Milstein rivalry going on now in that? Or no, Alan Walsh's. Do you think there's a little bit of a Milstein Alan Walsh rivalry going on which of their defensemen they can get signed by the Vancouver Canucks?
And they want to get their clients signed with the Vancouver Canucks purely because of how much you have to overpay them for taxes. So that just means a nicer cut to them. But Big Z, he's becoming a folk hero. He's everything you want in a player. I love people saying he's everything Jim Benning wanted Tyler Myers to be. And then I saw an even better joke saying he's everything they wanted Nikita Triamkin to be.
Nikita Triamkin. Do you think they'll go after him in the offseason? Could you imagine a decor that was like Quinn Hughes, some other guy, Susie, Myers, Zadorov, Triamkin?
It'd be a tower of power.
It'd be stupid. That's one of those NHL 24 stupid things that you try and just put truculence as the zone ability for every single defense.
We'll bash him into submission. It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. They don't need to skate. It's fine.
Man, like I was watching the third period and they just ran out of that magic they had in game 4, and that's fine. But it felt like they were doing so much right that they were doing so much right, and they were playing so well that I was not really concerned or in doubt. And then the buzzer rang, and shit happens. You're not gonna. It would have been perfect. It would have been ideal.
It
would have been ideal for them to wrap it up, like you were saying earlier, and everybody gets rest, neat and tidy, step on the neck, but it didn't happen. Go back to Smashville. They're 2-0. They've won both games there.
So now what we have to hope for is that the Los Angeles Kings and the McDavid deterrent that is Pierre-Luc Dubois show up and extend that series a little bit. Because I don't know. Listen, the Canucks are still up 3-2 in the series. And they're going to go back to Nashville. They do actually get 2 nights rest, I believe now, right?
Yeah,
so they play on Friday?
Yeah, they're playing Friday, probably a 4:30 or 5 o'clock start. Like, it's identical weeks. We're having identical weeks here in terms. We're having the same week as last week here at Pucks On Now. We got a Sunday post-game show.
Guys. Everything's the same. Nothing
got a Monday
changes, don't worry.
Got a Monday regular show, got a Tuesday post-game show, got a Friday post-game show.
Ryan, could you imagine they go to Game 7? And then we have to do that post-game show, then the Monday show. Think about it, pal. And then the other series, if they win Game 7, starts on Tuesday.
I think we'd call an audible and take a week off on the regular podcast.
No, it's okay. Gonna throw back to you. So, didn't think Shilov's had a bad game again. I think he's just calm. I would have probably liked to carry a goal back. I just thought it just kind of floated in, and it was like, okay, whatever. Now that they get 2 nights rest, structurally sound, athletic, and I just thought calm, like especially in the first period. There's a lot of energy in the arena. Thought he was making really nice saves, no rebounds, no kind of egregious mistakes there. That being said, he had a 909 save percentage tonight. So again, 2 games where his save percentage is above 900. That's pretty much what for a third string goalie, you can't really ask for more than that, especially someone who's 23 and coming into a high pressure situation in that where one mistake is really costly. It's not like this is Winnipeg and Colorado where it's like, hey, if you break an iPod, just go over to the vending machine over there, press the button, you get a new iPod. It's totally fine. Just go. So that being said, they have 2 nights off now. For Friday, do you go back to DeSmith? Because Casey's probably going to be ready at that point. This is the problem. Like, how do you determine who's going to start?
You gotta, much more accomplished.
Flip a coin, man. You just gotta get a sack of Jawea and just and then be like, oh dang, man, it's right on my thing, man.
Like the Dakota Joshua truther on Twitter, Seelovs did his job. You couldn't expect anything more from him or DeSmith, and
100%.
And it just talk. It's gonna go by feel, and like if he went with DeSmith, I'd be fine with it. They each have their wins. DeSmith had a better, more complete game in game 3 in Nashville. So you can hang. I wouldn't, if that's his reasoning, that's fine. Seeloff's had a very good game tonight. He had a reasonably good game in game 4 in Nashville. It's just, thank God you have 2 goalies that you can count on, because as opposed to, let's find a Toronto Maple Leaf goalie to just put out there and hope that they'll stop pucks. So they'll make that decision closer to, and Ian Clark will use his wisdom for good and not for evil, and he will say, this is who I'm feeling, and Tocchet will probably agree, and they'll figure it out. But right now, I would have no problems putting Seeloff's back out there, calm, cool, and collected. I kind of lean more towards Artur Seeloff's, because of the reasoning is he had a good game. He looked in position for the majority of the game. He was calm and cool, and showing an upside. The argument for Casey DeSmith is, well, he's the veteran. Well, I'm sorry. Let's not go with that close-minded.
How about this? How about this, Ryan? We put Shilovs in net for a period and a half. We put DeSmith in net for a period and a half. Everyone's fine. Everyone gets their happy ending, and we just kind of go from there. Why don't we just do that?
Rick Tocchet comes in. We're gonna treat this game 6 like an exhibition game.
This is preseason. This is preseason in Nashua. Oh yeah, this is hometown hockey, boys. We're really gonna get her done. It's gonna be interesting for Game 6. So, right, yeah, this game was just weird in a sense that throughout the entire game, I had a sense that some people that were watching it were really kind of anxious and riled up.
I was anxious.
I wasn't. I really was so like, this is game 5, man. Like, they're up 3-1. I think I know what this game is going to be for most parts. I think it's going to go, and it's going to be, I'm going to guess it's going to be a 1-goal game. And then, it's just an understanding like, hey, who's gonna get a weird goal, and when what happens, Yossi has his goal. Again, going back to the challenges, this is an incredibly frustrating problem, and I hope that they can kind of really, I don't know, how do you more clearly define goaltender interference, Ryan? I don't want to talk about goaltender interference, because I just feel like both of us would rather yeet ourselves into the shadow realm than talk about what the definition of goaltender interference is. But at the same time, I can feel Rick Tocchet's trepidation, and Mike Yost talking to the people upstairs in his caller there. What do you do in situations like that?
I respect the call. They had given up a power play goal.
The call not to challenge.
Yeah, if you asked me what I would have done, I would have not challenged it. And that was a power play goal. Roman Josi got it.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't afford to take that gamble and sit on the power play for another 2 minutes after that. They just scored on the power play. The game was nice and tight. The Canucks were cruising, and there wasn't a sense of panic, like a sense of desperation, like we need this goal to go back. So I was fine with it, but you need something definitive to overturn it, and I didn't see anything, and it was so razor thin down the line. And we talked about another post game show, like when the call on the ice is when you're trying to prove that it's not a goal, that's where you just really get your back up against the wall. And it didn't go our way tonight, but I don't have a problem with that goal. But
this game was very much a bit of an energy suck, wasn't it? We came in hot last game, and I just feel like this was for all intents and purposes was just kind of a rope-a-dope kind of game, and you just, whoever had the 2-1 goal was going to win. I really didn't think it was going to end up being like a 1-0 shutout. This series hasn't been that. Every goalie has been relatively 900. I will again give a lot of kudos to UC Saros. He did really play extremely well tonight. And I think they just have to find another gear, and they have to find this within the offense that I understand that I understand that they're blocking shots. I understand that they're really kind of tight pressuring your team, especially in the neutral zone, and your team's speed doesn't have that separation speed that other teams have. I have no doubt that certain team like a team like Edmonton where they have a player like Connor McDavid or Leon Draisaitl or Zach Hyman or whomever um, can race up and down the ice and kind of play shotgun hockey with you to break and have that separation speed. And maybe that's something they can look for. The one player, a couple players that have separation speed, unfortunately, on this roster with like someone like Ilya Mikheyev or Sam Lafferty, they're not one-shot scorers for the most part. Mikheyev, his time in Toronto was a lot of just like separation speed and then just like jamming the puck or greasy goals or just kind of figuring that out or getting a second chance opportunity into a kind of a more of a gaping net as opposed to a set goaltender in that instance. So slight adjustments I'd like to see for game 6, put the Lotto line back together. I think that second line really has shown you with Lindholm and Garland and Joshua that they can be more than capable of carrying that load in this series. Again, this series alone, I think if and when you get to round 2 and it does look like it's going to be Edmonton, you're going to need to really kind of make like the Jordan rules, but for Connor McDavid, be like, hey man, he's going to get his calls, but we're knock his ass down every time he comes in front of the net. Just like, it doesn't matter. So yeah, we'll see how they do for game 6. I don't think the series is in danger at any point, but it is getting to a part where it can get dangerous when the games are this close. When you've shown that you can't exactly get the separation in terms of the offensive side of the game, you haven't won a game 4-2. It's come down to the last minutes of the game, empty nets, all this stuff. You can get into a danger zone there where anything can happen and then they turtle. And if there's one team in the NHL right now that knows how to turtle, it is the Nashville Predators, because they got the 2-1 lead and they're like, okay, all right, boys, 4 minutes of blocking shots. Let's go. Like, it doesn't matter. We'll get ice packs. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And go into this quote, please.
Which one?
The Tocchet quote that you have.
Yeah, Rick Tocchet says they thought about, this is coming from our dear friend on the show, Brandon Batchelor. Rick Tocchet says they thought about challenging the OC goal, but thought it would be 50-50 as to whether they would have won it on goalie interference. And I'm not, listen, I'm a rambling, gambling man myself. I consider myself a riverboat gambler, become game 5 of the playoffs, and to go right back. They were looking good on their penalty kill. I don't disagree with the argument of roll the dice, kill it. You had this fluke cluster fork goal that just happened on the power play. Maybe go back and give it a once over.
Mm-hmm.
But when I look at it, I just don't see enough. And the thing that caused the puck to drive to cross the line was due to the Canucks' momentum, in my humble opinion. So I'm glad they didn't do it, but I agree. I see everybody's side here. You really have to understand that when we're getting to the point where we're talking about goaltender interference call, that's how low event this goddamn game was. For low event, just in part of like, there was that one stretch at like kind of the middle part of the third where stuff kind of opened up a little bit. Yeah. And then, Yossi and then Carrier get the goal. And then you're like, oh, okay, well now can they do the same thing they did before? We don't know. Going into game 6, man, I just feel like the power play needs to get going. They need to figure it out. Don't overthink it. It is incredibly frustrating because I know I bring it up, but like today screamed for Elias Pettersson. It screamed for your star play. I know we can talk about injuries, but like, hey, guys, Linden played on a broken leg. He played on crutches. Like, he didn't play on a broken leg. That's Gregory Campbell.
Okay, Greg Campbell. Well, I mean, his dad was Colin Campbell, so it's fine. At least there wasn't a nepotistic side to Trevor Linden.
The joke. Well, let's see what his son accomplishes in this town. The gag was the Canucks use as many goalies in this first 4 games as Elias Pettersson had shots on goal. He had 3 in the first 4 games. He had 3 tonight. I saw a lot of positives with him where they were not overthinking their shots. They were just ripping it. And I really liked their scoring chances. I really like what they were cooking up. They were moving the puck so hard and fast in the offensive zone. Just they did not get that luck, and UC Saros remembered who he was for 60 minutes tonight. And I think if they go into Nashville with that same ability, that same offensive-minded approach, and that crispiness, word of the day is crispiness, I think they're going to be just fine, and they're not coming back for 7.
Okay, well, I'm just going to quickly, because we're touching on Rick Tocchet just talking about not challenging the call. So he has another quote from our friend Brendan. Rick Tocchet on the call on Joshua in the third. I have to see it. I don't know. Did he turn into it? For me, I can't figure those out anymore. I know part of it is strategy. Guys turn around at the last moment. This is part of it. It's like when the so we don't know goaltender interference. We don't know boarding. We don't
that
know
was a
these
board.
calls.
That was 100% a board. I thought it was cheeky.
Yeah.
I thought it was BS that the fans did a ref you suck chant. I'm like, you don't hit a guy in the numbers.
Ryan.
No, I don't care.
Ref you suck. Who? I think the only people that will ever go to a game and kind of applaud a referee for making a good call are literally you and I. I think we did it at one point where we're like, no, it's a good call. Nope. Yep.
Connor Garland deserved that.
Connor Garland deserved that. And it's fun because you're like, it's like, what's his name? Alexander Burmistrov. Do you remember him?
Yeah.
Canucks got him in the Benning years, and then he took a penalty and he looks up on the Jumbotron and he's like, it was the highlight of his tenure.
Yeah.
It's fucking great.
Again, the officiating was not a problem for me. And the ice cold Canucks power play, fuck, keep that thing in the barn. We're gonna be just fine. All their chances were 5-on-5 in those very crispy offensive zone attempts. The sauce line is
it's back
Joshua.
up. It's back up.
I always worried the chant will piss off the ref. They're already pissed off. They have bigger things to worry about. Their gigantic egos.
They know. They're going. They have the entire little tiny bucket of cold Molson, and at the between every period, they're completely gaslighting each other. Yeah, it was a great call. Yeah, it was a great call, pal. Good job. Oh, you're so good. Oh, you're such a good boy. Oh, you're such a good boy. Oh, little reffy. Good job. It's. Sorry. Jesus Christ.
We're gonna go to the sauce line. This came in from Rod. Actually, no. Hopefully, if they followed the instructions, they know what to do on the sauce line. 604-283-9469.
Nice.
Hello, this is Roger R. Smith calling from Kitimat. Man, that game tonight. I halfway through the second, I felt this game might end up being a 1-point game, and sure enough, it was. But not in the Canucks' favor. So let's see what happens the next game. Go Canucks, go!
General optimism. Oh, he's going again. General optimism.
You gotta love Roger. You gotta love Roger. He's a huge fan of the show. Absolutely. Did you see him in the suit tonight?
Oh, looking good.
Oh my God, Roger, CEO Roger.
He dressed up for the Leafs funeral. Didn't wind up happening.
Dude, he
dressed up to celebrate the second round. Didn't wind up happening. Way she goes.
How did the Leafs win tonight? Jeez, Matthew Nyes, really?
I get
Marchand.
7. It's clockwork. It's paint by numbers, but somehow it's always a fantastic new pitcher. I don't know how enthusiastic people in the chat and those watching are, but if you want to give us a quick jingle to talk about Game 5, we're here to hear your thoughts and provide our insight and our glorious
guys, trust
opinions.
Me, we're asleep. That game was a sleepy game. We're as sleepy as you. Don't worry. We've been through the ringer. But for more touching on guys, this is. I don't think there's going to be any gradual huge shifts in this series. I think the key for Nashville to win is going to be UC Saros continues playing well, and they get support and win more 5-on-5 battles. The key for Vancouver is they're winning the 5-on-5 for majority of these games, especially tonight. Their special teams and their power play really need to strike. It's that's it. They just need to figure out what they're going to do on the power play. I did think, the one cute thing and kind of the cheeky thing they've been doing is when they pull the goalie, they've been putting Nikita Zadorov net front, right?
Yep.
I
He does
think,
everything.
man, like, dude, I just think, like, just run. Oh, how stupid would it be? I don't want to take PD off, but like, literally, if it's like Besser, kind of playing the swing role, Zadorov net front, Miller, Hughes, and who else is on the power play? Oh my God,
Lindholm?
am I missing someone? Yeah,
Lindholm's
Lindholm.
on
Last Lindholm.
PP1,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Then maybe just keep PD there. I don't know.
Dakota
Wait, is that
Joshua.
6 players? Did I just
Yeah.
call 6 players? Put 7
Yeah.
players on. Put
Uh,
7 players. That's going to fix the power play. Put 7 players out on the ice.
Dakota Joshua Truther in the chat. I hate that it feels like we need a lucky bounce to escape in Game 6. That's just how the Predators are playing. They've got nothing to lose. They're playing Minnesota Wild hockey, and they're just going to try and weather that storm and just fall on as many grenades as possible. And that's shitty, muddy playoff hockey right there.
Mhm.
Arash, we will say.
Sorry, 1 second.
Yeah.
Before we kind of wrap up the voice part of the show,
Mhm.
can we talk about Zadorov? Because I think his resume and his
He's not going anywhere, buddy.
I think he's turning into like this folk legend here.
I'm surprised he doesn't
really
have a
do.
letter on his jersey.
It's just, man, like, just not only a letter, but just where has this player been? Like, have the Canucks before? I'm trying to think. Like Shen maybe, but Shen never scored and skated the way he does.
Yeah.
Didn't give kind of blunt answers. Shenner's a good Canadian boy, and he got the contract from Nashville. And Godspeed, man. I love it for him. But like, even when Zadorov took the boarding penalty, and then he came out of the penalty box and just like
Boom.
bowled over, dude, just like. Ryan, who's the last player that did that, like physically imposed that way? Can you think off the top of your head?
Todd Bertuzzi, maybe.
Bertuzzi, I mean, yeah, Bert was the guy. I'm trying to
Like, that's the only thing I can think of where he's like, yeah, he's a defenseman, but there's this the old we're policing ourselves out here, but this like kind of sheriff approach, like, okay, he reminds me of Bufflin. He reminds me of
big
Dustin.
Buff a bit, yeah.
Yeah, just he'll do just about everything you need him to do. But one thing I absolutely love about Zadorov is, when he's scoring goals and he's either eyeing up the Preds bench saying, don't get too comfy, or he's looking right at his team. Like, I just see, it felt like he was had been a Canuck for 15 years when he had been here a month. Like, he's already ingratiated himself with the group. He's close with Miller, and he's close with Connor Garland. Like, I absolutely love that. And it's not everybody it's that easy to join a new club, but it's very cool that it worked so well for Vancouver, and we're not he's showing what he's worth. And I think if you asked most fans who you'd rather have, it's 81 and 91, and 17 kind of takes a back burner right now. 200 mile
I'm sorry. We're gonna. I think a lot of the heroic discussion is just like this was a guy who, for most intensive purposes, was the 35, 40 point guy in Detroit, and then he came to Vancouver, and he had a scorching heart. Scorching heart. Oh my God, I can't even speak. Scorching hot first, let's say like 55 games.
Yeah.
Right. What did he end up in the season? He was like 40, 45 on the season, was he? He didn't hit 50.
Philly Hronek, 5 goals, 43 assists. He played 81 games. I think he got a rest in the final game.
He got a rest. So he got 48 points, but still, like, again, you're playing with Quinn Hughes, right? So I think the thing with Quinn is Quinn's shown for a lot of his time, he doesn't need like a supreme $6, $7, $8 million defenseman. What he does need is a guy that can facilitate, like a very strong two-way kind of facilitator in that way. Someone that can play give and go and understand the minutia of not just being Chris Tanev for him or just being his blanket, but also someone that when they want to push the play, he can pinch in and he knows, okay, I can pass it back to the point, and the guy
Yeah.
that I'm passing it back to, can also make a play in that instance. And I just when I think of the contract that Alan Walsh and Philip Hronik are going to ask for, I feel like at a certain point you could get the exact guy for Quinn Hughes at 4 to 5 million, and then still have 2 some odd million to play with to go up and down your roster however you see fit.
Everybody got really turned up and turned on to the Cale Makar Devon Taves comparison.
Hey,
Is
pal,
it toes or
two second round picks? Are you kidding me?
yeah, but like that, like, you know, that combination. It's like, well, the Canucks have theirs now with Hronik and Hughes, so you got to preserve that at all costs. You know, Rick Tocchet and before him, Bo Horvat, they use that term passengers, and that there's passengers on this team. I don't dislike Philip Hronik, but man, there's some times where Quinn Hughes is breaking ankles and doing ungodly things with the puck to create offensive chances, and Hronik looks just like that. He looks like a passenger.
We're all passengers in life, Ryan.
That's eloquently put. I do not think Armand R in the chat, is EP ever going to score another goal? Yes,
No.
he will score the GWG.
No, he will never score again. We're locked in for 8 years. He's gonna be a 0.90 assist guy. He's gonna score again. This is the thing. It's like until you figure out what he had. Here's the thing. I think in the NHL we're really kind of predisposed to, and I've pushed this narrative a lot in the last few days, is that, you know, when a player's injured and they still play in the playoffs, there's these moments, like everyone knows Petey's dealing with something.
Yeah.
And how your lore is built, unfortunately, sometimes, is how you perform when you have bumps and bruises and stuff going on.
Totally.
And it seems to me that what's going on with Petey, it's really hindering him. And I want to see the best version of Elias Pettersson. And I think if the best version of Elias Pettersson, like I think this is doing a bit of hindrance to him, because he's out on the ice and he's probably being like, from all intents and purposes that we know of Petey as a player and not a human being, because really, guys, none of us really know them on this personal level. But if there comes a time when, you know, he's missing shots and all this stuff, he's also getting into his head. So he's dealing with a double whammy here, where he's dealing with something physically. And then the mental aspect is like, fuck, I can't do this, I can't do that. And it just snowballs. And I think, like, if there was a time to maybe give him a rest of some sort, to be like, yeah, he's banged up, he got bumps and bruises. Like, you know, Matthews is out with a mystery injury. Like, if they can, you know, if they can err on the side of caution with Austin Matthews, they can err on the side of caution with Elias Pettersson and give him some time off. Then he would have had 3 days from tonight.
Yeah.
Because they definitely didn't. He didn't impact the game in any real meaningful way. The only thing he had was that 2-on-1 rush where the puck hits UC Saros on the mask. And that's it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I kind of, you know, I look at, you know, offensive chances are so hard to come by in this series. So sitting out somebody who is a potential threat in Petey, you know, that might not be garner the greatest response, but I definitely see the positives and the merits in giving this guy a mental and physical break. We're going to give ourselves a mental and physical break. We're going to wrap up the post-game show.
51 minutes, Ryan. Well done.
We're very good. We're a finely tuned machine. I just want to say, I hope everybody enjoyed. If Petey went Bardowski tonight, it'd be a completely different conversation. Yes, exactly. We would have Game 5 onto the second round, but we don't. Yep. We're here. We're getting ready for Game 6. I just want to say that in the last 48 hours, and rightfully so, over 1,000 people watched our post-game show for Game 4 when the Canucks had one of their greatest comebacks in franchise history. So that's fucking cool. This episode will get a fraction of that, and we're fine with that because you ride the waves.
Everyone's tired. Everyone's so tired. This was a melatonin game, and I do not doubt. The post game shows weren't for tonight. They're literally for tomorrow morning because everyone was like so tired they want to go to sleep. I totally get it.
Correct. And we're going to sleep. We'll see you back again here for Friday for Game 6. Final score: Nashville Predators 2, Vancouver Canucks 1. Carrier and Yossi for Nashville, and Big Z, the future mayor of, well, if he wants to be the mayor of the city, province, or country, he'll get it. He gets the lone goal for the Canucks.
One time for Nikita Zadorov. Good night, ladies and gentlemen, and good luck.
All right.